Peace, family. Peace. Yeah, I just made it in, man. We had a good day today. Thanks for asking, man. Peace, family. Hold on. Yep, peace, brother. Peace. Yep, I was just letting brother know we are on YouTube as well. So you can also follow the lectures on YouTube. It's free. It's under my appellation, Kari Ibn Hakeem Goodman Bay. You can go on YouTube, man, and I uploaded a plethora of lectures that I've done. But thank everybody for tuning in, and thanks for asking. But today we just gonna go over, some things out of the Circle 7 Quran that I hope, you know, more study and understand, man, that if we say we Moors and if we say we're studying what the Prophet taught, man, I hope we're studying this Circle 7 Quran, Moors. I really do. Peace, Empress. I really hope we're studying this because this is all about you, Moors. I promise you. A lot of people tell you to study, but then when you ask them what to study, they're not going to tell you because they think it's some secret. They think it's about them. And you have the keys, Moors. That's why if you read this Quran, I don't care what rich person do. If you're not right, if the vessel is not right, none of the stuff means anything, Moors. I promise you. But we have to study this here. And if a brother's saying that they haven't read this and it's written in code, that's scary. And no disrespect to no Moors, because I had a temple in Arizona for 2 years, and none of them brothers studied this Circle 7 Quran, and they know who I'm talking about. I heard brothers say this is written in code to keep you away from this. If you are Moor, and the first thing any Moor should tell you, if they some master teacher, they should tell you to study this right here first. No other book. If you say that you are Moor studying what the teachings of Noble Drew Ali, there's no other way you can say you are Moor and proclaim your spirituality as an adapt and as a master teacher if you haven't read this. And understand this, when I talk about the triple rules of the adapt chamber, when you hear Moors dissing things, and I say they help people to walk away from that. You don't argue, you don't debate with anyone. That's a person operating in their lower self, Moors. And if a person understand this and live by the holy and divine creed, then you know they operate in love, truth, peace, freedom, justice, because their spirituality is right first. They understand who they are. That's what this Circle and 7 is all about. And so we're going to go over some chapters more. So when I speak on things in this Circle 7 Quran, and if a person never read it, then they should ask. Because this is what we should be studying. And this is what we should be promulgating and pushing first. This is what should be studied. This, along with the biblical scriptures in all languages. This is the Holy Name Bible. I asked Morris, have you read the preface of the Holy Name Bible? Because you need to. I mean, I tell Morris, this Circle 7 Quran is the essence of everything. And if any more saying it's not, that's sad. They're not operating on love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Masonry, the true masonry and the essence where it come from, I'm going to teach on that. I see Morris just posting pictures of Angelo Solomon, and then I ask them to read the history of Angelo Solomon. They don't want to go there. I said, you have to study everything. Everybody written their story, but you must understand where it comes from. You don't have to believe nothing nobody say. You don't have to believe nothing I say. That's why I tell Morris, get your pens and your papers. Please write things down, because I'm not here to convert anyone under anything. That's your salvation. And that's why if you study under your foremothers and your forefathers and study under the fig tree and understand what that means, peace family, then you would know what that really means if you're studying. Because this book is about the 18 mission years of Yahshua's life. Some like to call it Jesus, but it was never a J in the Hebrew dialect. If we're talking, if we're going from scripture and we're going from geographical landmass, read Acts chapter 24 and 5. This pestilent fellow is the ringleader of the Nazarenes, always speaking of tribe and lineage. So we can go on and on. If you study, we know Jesus per se were from the tribe of Judah. You have to understand this. That's why I teach this. I'm not coming from no, and I have degrees in the world that Moors created. So if anybody dissing education, they just getting it from the wrong perspective. They're getting caught up in linguistic apartheid and pseudo academia. Nothing is hidden. Everything I come from, I've got from the doctoral libraries, from my other affiliations with the Philosophical Society, and me being a 99th right. So when I come from perspective, I come from ancient history. Some people are stuck in modern, which is gibberish, and that's okay. We can get there if a person is willing to study. I deal with ancient history. I don't deal with modern writings. Modern, just like modern Hebrew is gibberish. But we can go on and on with different dialects. But anyway, let's stick with the subject. But if any more is dissing true masonry, they don't know the history of Angelo Solomon. This more right here. I'm a dig deep in some history, and we're gonna get in this Koran and connect some dots. Because when people dissing things, you can't be a Moor, and you can't be people be going around with these ID cards. And I say, well, what Moor Science Temple is all about? What's your lineage? They be like, what you mean? From the loins of David, tribe of Judah, huh? What you mean? If you say you're a Moor, you should know that. You should know that the Asiatic man is the father of civilization. I can prove that in the Bible. I don't care what Bible you get, the Holy Name Bible. I don't care if you get the God Name Bible. I don't care if the King James Version Bible. I can prove you that the Asiatic man is the father of civilization all through the biblical book. And I can show you exoteric science. I can show you analogy, parable, and symbology all in that biblical scripture. I can show you what the 12 disciples mean in the brain and the deal with correcting yourself, just like our workman tools in chapter 5 of our Moorish Koran. For real, man. So if we're going to diss things, that's not science. I don't diss nothing. I get with facts. I get with historicalness. I get with landmass. Like, for instance, we're going to get into this subject. When a person say European, the first thing I have to ask is, what European mean? European has nothing to do with nationality, period. I know Moors in Europe. If you're studying people posting the Ancient and Modern Britons by David Mackey Rich, what are he telling you? What is that book about? Those are Moors in Britain. Come on, man. That's simple science. Where? In Europe. That's just a geographical landmass. The Ancient and Modern Britons, when I say it was everywhere, Greece, but we get caught up in our lower self and false doctrine wanting to prove a point, and there's no point to be proven. If you get with geographical landmass, mass, and get with real ancient maps instead of pseudo maps, the MacArthur map is gibberish. The MacArthur map is fake. Any historian, any sociologist, anybody can tell you that. You can look up on Oprah film. I forget the doctor name. She destroyed that, but I can show you even before that, the landmass, Pangea, everything was connected. I did this on Grand Canyon University campus when I did a lecture on geography. And I said it was easy to get to and fro. That's how different animals and different crops were in different areas, because it was easy to go from here and there because everything was connected. And you have to get a book, America BC. These things are not hidden. It's already written, Moors. So we have to get out of that hate, man, and get into history and get into facts and historicalness. Because when you talk about Europe, Europe means nothing. Europe means nothing. Just like Caucasus has nothing to do with what you think it means. And if you go with ancient history, it will be proven. We don't deal with modern history. We deal with ancient history. And then we deal with what can be proven today, who we are, and that's it. And you operate on love. You shouldn't be out here arguing with anyone. If any more are not reading this, that's sad. But research Angelo Solomon, like Moors. I operate in love, and I do lectures on many different platforms, and then mostly at other different religious houses and other different halls. Like, for instance, I know a lot of brothers that's Prince Hall Masons. And a brother asked me, well, do Moors, should Moors become Masons and join some other group? I said, absolutely not. And I'm explaining why. Give me a second. But a lot of Prince Hall Moors, and I love a lot of brothers. That's why I teach, because I'm a teacher. I say, if you don't understand your workman tools and the 7 Kemetic principles, it's no science. And if you wear your fez in clandestine, meaning religiously or political, that's no science. I promise you. None of it is no science. When something is given to you, you don't understand that you are the originator. So when we talk about people outside ourselves, like when people throw a European is they teaching this, your own people are teaching false things. We got to remember this, Morris. If our family is not willing to sit down and use their hippocampus and be theosophists and really understand the essence of what we're talking about, then our own people can promulgate false teaching. We have preachers and Moors that preach false teaching. So before we take some outside, we have to correct ourselves. You know? And that's what we have to do, Moors. We have to do that. It's not about a color, it's about a spirit, man. But study, if we don't understand this science about Solomon, and when Moors distance certain things, it's sad. Like a brother asked me, he says, when we talk about Noble Drew Ali and how he traveled through the compass and square and all that stuff, and then how I explain he used this compass to keep all his carnal desires under control. See, we're talking about self. Picked up the square to straighten out all the crooked planes of fallen humanity, to make the corners of our conduct square. We're talking about self, Moors. And I'm going to show you in our book, but let me connect these dots so we can know. How did our prophet travel? Through the Masonic order until he became a noble. Then he entered Islam. If anybody don't know this, I'm sorry. It's nothing to argue about. Who represented Islam in the West? Since 1912 CE, Noble Drew Ali did. Did our prophet, if we say we Moors and we're studying the Moors Koran, did our prophet Drew Ali enter the shrine? Yes, he entered Islam that way, Moors. Does this mean that Moorish Americans should seek to become Shriners? This is where I tell people to be careful. The answer is absolutely not. There is no longer any need to become, there is no longer any need for this, because if you're studying under the right auspices, if you're studying true Moorish science, if you're studying the triple role of the adapt chamber, if you're studying true essence of all spirituality, you understand that our prophet Noble Drew Ali gave us the 32 and 33 degrees in our divine structure number 2. When he placed the tarba and a mithra, which is the turban, on our kapta, which is our crown, and gave us the science. So what I'm saying, Moors, if you see a Moor with a turban or a fez or a kufi on his head, I hope there's some wisdom under that. It should be wisdom and honor and nobility walking under that fez or that turban or that kufi, Moors. Come on. Period. We got to know this science. Who amongst the highest of Rome enter Islam by practice? Masons. Prince Hall, European Masons, brothers that don't know. By what degree? You know, I hope Moors know their secret password. Assalamu alaikum. I'm telling you what occurs then. A Mason bows his knee to Islam, proclaims that Allah is God, becoming a practicing Muslim. Y'all know what I'm talking about. That's why they call them sons of Muslims. I'm telling you, man. Hey, you don't have to. That's why I said, Moors, you got to understand you operate in love. I teach the science to brothers that's Prince Hall Masons. And when I go in there and I say, you should know this, brother. There's nothing to be afraid of. But if you join something prematurely, then that's something different. So I come in love, man. But all Moors know that in Masonry, if you, I don't care what you study, what Assalamu alaikum mean. And a Mason bow down and proclaim Islam, that Allah is God, something outside themselves. We're talking about al-Islam. We're not talking about Moorish Islam, American Islam. I hope we know that, Moors. That's why when I speak of Moorish science, when I say it's Sufism and Hebrewism, you know, the way things was given to you, think it's some pie in the sky. Not in Moorish science. And if anybody says the Holy Koran doesn't teach that and the Holy Bible doesn't teach that, that's sad. I promise you, it's right in there. It's right in there. I'm telling you, Shriners are considered the joke of Masonry. Why? Because they left Christianity to practice their religion other than their forefathers. I mean, that's just the science. They all know this. They all know this. In Moorish science, the religion is Islamism, just like Sufism. In Moorish science, God and man is one. In true teachings, no matter what you're studying, God and man is one. I'm telling you, man, if anybody think it's different, that's sad. They're not being studied. Every book goes back to the same essence. Every book. Every book goes back to the same essence. I promise you, Morris. So if somebody giving you some wrong studies, that's just wrong. They're not studying and teaching you right. Islamism, God and man is one. Even in the gods of the earth, even in the biblical scriptures, is Islamism. True essence of spirituality is universal law in harmony with self, Moors, resulting in peace, the science and study of what? Self-mastery. That's what this all about. That Allah and man are one. In more science, arm, leg, arm, head. That's Allah. That's you. That's manifestation of man and me and you. If people read their Circle 7 Koran, which I'm going to demonstrate, it tells you you are Allah. What are we talking about? Arm, leg, arm, head. That represent man. Just like the pentagram, the 5-point star. That's arm, leg, arm, head. People scared from the Kabbalah and don't understand all this science and things that's written Kabbalistically. When I talk about the Baphomet, when it's really spelled Kabbalistically, it means the Temple of David. We got to study this science, man. You know, Noble Drew Ali taught spirituality as well. I promise you. Not our Islam. You know, Noble Drew Ali taught that Allah, God, Buddha, whatever you want to call him, because if you study the Quran, even in the other Quran, a prophet comes in the voice of the people. Why? For it won't be no confusion, Moorish. You know I'm telling the truth. Al-Islam being the Arabic for peace, Moors, which was perfected by Muhammad into Quraysh and Arabic, and has since, unlike Islamism, that our Prophet Noble Drew Ali brought to Moorish Americans, Moors, it's been viewed by the world much like catechism, in the premise to serve a God which exists outside of man himself. Just like when you get certain people interpretation of the biblical scriptures and they try to tell you and explain that you're not a God, and the biblical scriptures contrary to that. In Psalms, they tell you that you are gods, that you are made in the image. How somebody gonna tell you something different? I can show you in metaphysics, all the charts, God and man is one. The most holy place, the holy place, and the quarter roundabout. I don't know what you're talking about. I can show you all infusion of the Bible from the Novus Testamentum. I can show you all the books that was taken out. From the Old Testament Apocrypha, from the New Testament Apocrypha, from all the Hebrew books, even in the biblical scriptures. When I talk about prereqs, and people say, what are prereqs? And I say, if you get the biblical scriptures, prereqs is the book of Yasher and all the other books the Bible tells you to read before you even jump into this teaching. When I talk about time period and landmass and dispensation, when I talk about when so-called Muhammad walked the earth, who was ruling, what empire was ruling, who he married, all that makes a difference. So we just put time periods together, Morris. But yeah, in that essence, we got to know what that is. Islamism is the old-time religion of the ancient Egyptian mystery system. To know thyself, to its security. Can a Moorish American be a Mason also? These are questions that was asked to me when I do lectures. And I say, not a true and faithful Moorish American. Why? Because if you're studying, if you're going, and this is the thing when people, I hear so many people talking about the temples, and the first thing I ask them, have they been to a temple? No. Do you know anybody that's been to a temple? No. And then, but you always put accusations on things. And I tell brothers and sisters, just sit back for a minute without any prejudice and say, is everything a type? Because if we can agree to if everything is a type, then you must judge accordingly. You can't put everything in a, we can say we dealt with this particular temple and it wasn't right and we put it out there, or this particular brother and it wasn't right. But we can't say all. Now, I can say I've been to some temples. I've had my own, and a lot of the brothers wasn't right. Have I been to biblical churches and ministered? Yes, and a lot of people wasn't right. I know a lot of ministers, they teach A1. They teach that God and man is one. I know a lot of them. And when people, then I see people posting false history and law, like 501c3 and things. I have my own organization. I tutor kids. I do things in my community. If a person don't understand business and you are a business, that's sad. That's really sad. How you gonna operate in your community? How you gonna buy all the property? How you gonna have a youth center in your community? How you gonna have organizations donate to you and you know that you are a business and you operate as a business? You don't even understand trust fund. That's crazy. So you let all these other organizations come in your community and extract, and you won't even do the same to do things in your own community. That's sad. I teach all nationalities how when their children graduate out of high school, they have their own entity, their own business, their own tax identification number. They already got accounts in quick 30s. They're already standing on their business. But we just argue it's not valid. We cannot expound further on the science of the Shriner being labeled as a joke of masonry. Now, all Masons know this, and all Moors should know this, because a lot of their literature is pretty much connotated from our science. I mean, it is what it is. So this takes us to the history of the Moorish or the Moorish dance. If you research history, you'll know what the Moorish dance is. It was a dance borrowed from the Moors, or more accurately, the imitation of their dance. If you research, many groups in Europe extending the so-called Middle East, India, and parts of Central and South America studied this. But we can go on and on with that science, Moors. I hope we know that. I hope we know that. So I'd like to talk about the Circle 7 Quran just a little bit, and then we're going to jump right into it. But when Moors talk about that book, what is the Circle 7 Quran all about? What is it's composed of? Brothers be acting like the Prophet didn't study and he didn't have real degrees. Come on, man. I see everybody doing their own thing. We don't know about what a body politic is. I mean, a lot of things are done for you. Didn't know Bajir Ali tell you at least anything, claim your nationality through the Moorish Science Temple of America. You don't have to believe in brothers if they're talking false knowledge or false wisdom and they don't want to study and give you the tools. But you have the right to nationalize through the temple the right way. And that's all I have to tell brothers, because I know temples that don't preach, or I know brothers preaching false doctrine. I know more that don't even have Sunday school. And I say, what are you teaching your babies? That don't even make sense. Your day should be scheduled to teach history, law, civics, health, agriculture, and spirituality. If you're not teaching that, I can't deal with you, man. I can't. I tell brother, my brother was killed by a Negro. So I'm in this physical world dealing spiritual. I have to. But anyway, this Circle 7 Quran that our prophet compiled and gathered, because he said he divinely prepared this. So if Moors know history and understand what divinely prepared by the guiding of his father, God, Allah, the great God of the universe, to redeem man from his sinful and fallen stage of humanity back to the highest plane of life with his father, God, Allah. I mean, that's what this is. He didn't say he write nothing. I mean, he didn't say he wrote nothing. It said he divinely prepared. Come on, Moors. Right? Come on, that man used his brain, man. That man studied. That man knew who he was. Just like other prophets in the flesh today study. But we so quick to tear a person down. I said, examine a man. Examine a man. You have in the world, but not of the world. If you understand what this is what I tell Moors. Do you know when people call themselves adapts? Do we know what an adapt really is? Adapt have to be in the world. Adapt wear many hats. I have to be where my people at. I have to be exactly where my people at. So I'm not afraid to go nowhere and speak and teach and come from spirituality. I can use the same books that anyone uses and tell them exactly who he is in his biblical scripture, and that your skin is not a curse, and destroy all pseudo academia. Period, man, from a scholarly perspective. Period, man. And a geography landmass. I can prove these things. And from a linguistic perspective, I can prove all these things. From love, truth, peace, freedom, justice, health, and wealth, my 2 cents. And a person can sit right down and follow me. And I can walk you right through it. And if you're a Muslim, I can show you all the teachings of Far Muhammad, what he teaches. That the black man is the father of civilization. It's right there. It's right there. It's documents that all Muslims and all Moors should have ancient history. And I have it. It shows who the Moors are. And all Muslims should have it. If you studying, matter of fact, I'll show you. Matter of fact, this right here. The real Indian is the Negro, aka the Blackamoor. I mean, this right here. I share everything. If you can't get it, hit me up. It has everything in here you want to know. When people be talking about the 4th of July, I say they only giving you the exoteric meaning. It's an esoteric meaning to it. And there's some science to it. That's why certain people are using certain things and winning when they understand who they are and what science is all about. What's above and what's below, what's really about. It's not just words. I'm telling you, this was given. Let me give you the day when it was given. Written and sent to all students in the ministry of Islam in the wilderness of North America by Elijah Muhammad, servant of Allah, dated back 4/2/1936, and then reissued 1/18/1963. I'm telling you, it gives you what the real Independence Day, it gives you what the real 4th of July is all about. I'm telling you. See, I deal with all my elders know, all my imams know what I'm talking about. It shows you back what they really taught. One of the 25,000 identification cards given out by Master Fard Muhammad in Detroit and Chicago from 1930 to 1934 for registered Muslims, spelled Moslems. And God believe me. It's just what it is, man. So when people act like they don't know, they do know. That's why I operate on truth, and that's why I'm able to go in peace, man. I'm not all knowing, but if I'm a doctor, I must continue to study. I don't want to practice malpractice to one of my brothers and sisters. Master Fard Muhammad under the alias David Ford, pictured in the upper left hand corner. There are many Masons shown in the picture. The development of the MSTA saw the influence of many high-degree Black Shriners, Masons, secret societies, particularly the ancient Egyptian Arabic order of the nobles of the mystic shrine, started by Noble Ali Rofel Pasha and John George Jones in 1893. The secret societies played a major role in the events during the 1920s and 30s and governmental changes in America that have great importance of the events happening presently in respect to the subject of reparations and the New World Order. Moore's literature pamphlet, The Industrious Act of the Moslem, page 17, by the Prophet Noble Ali. Interviews with Anderson L. of Baltimore, done by Carl Evans and cited in the Messenger. I'll show you the picture. It's so much history, man, but I got to stay to the topic. One of my brothers like, man, would you please? I went over this before, man. I can go over it again. A copy of Noble Ali's incorporation documents when Moore talking about what 501c3 is, they don't know. And I say, man, you can't know what the temple is all about. You just making stuff up. You don't even know how the temple was set up. It was established as a religious corporation by filing the affidavit of organization, document 1010-5905. 1099 recorded in the record of deeds office in the county of Cook, state of Illinois, on August 1st, 1928 AD at 2:52 p.m. At that time, through his affidavit, the Holy Prophet Noble Ali gave birth to a free and national government as an ecclesiastical body politic and corporate under the revised statute of the state of Illinois, chapter 36, section 36. Check the science, Moors, July 20th, 1928 was the third day in the beginning of a new moon during the sign of Virgo. August 1st, 1928 was the day of a full moon. I mean, I can go on and on. The Herbert Smith Revised Status, chapter 32, an act concerning corporations, section 36, Religious Corporation Act, played a huge origin on establishing the Moorish Science Temple of America as an ecclesiastical body politic and corporate. How can any subordinate temple of the Moorish Science Temple of America not operate under the Herbert Smith Revised Statute, chapter 32, section 36, Moors? Why? Because the act clearly states that any church, congregation, or society formed for the purpose of religious worship may become, listen to me clearly, incorporated in the matter following by electing, that's crossed out, appointing, because there's supposed to be some under this turban and this fez. So appointing, not electing, according to its usage of customs, at the meeting held for the purpose, 2 or more trustees. And back then, that's all what a sheik was a trustee. I'm telling you. 2 or more trustees, warden or vestryman, or such officers whose powers and duties are similar to those of trustees, as shall be agreeable to the usage and customs, rules, or regulations of such congregation, church, or society, and may adopt a corporate name and under filing the affidavit as hereafter provided. It shall be and remain a body politic and corporate by the name so adopted. Source PA 81-1509. I can go on and on. So if somebody telling you what it is and what it ain't, they don't know, Moors. The Moorish Science Temple have the tax ID number. Period. Period, man. It's just flat out. I don't know about no other temple or no other organizations. I'm talking about the Moorish Science Temple of America. We got a tax ID number. And I use it. And I use it. Is this my tax ID? Yeah. And I use it everywhere I go. So, and it's registered in Illinois. So if any more telling you that, I ain't with that. I don't know. I'm not here to talk about what nobody doing. But the Moorish Science Temple of America, which Noble Drew Ali set up, which is your birthright, that you have the right to go through the temple, we have that. We have a nationality card and we have an identification card. Moors, I can show you the history of the right to travel and the right to operate a motor vehicle. Those are two different things. But who am I? And driving is not a federal law. So if you go into some court, talk about you finna fight a federal case, talk about driving, you out of jurisdiction. I'm gonna laugh at you, and they are too. And you're gonna get in trouble. That's a state law. And then you got to understand why state regulated. So if you're operating on some old crazy stuff, I ain't with that neither. But anyway, you got to understand how Noble Drew Ali incorporated the temple. So we're finna get some more science. Man, it's so much science in here. Like I said, if you can't get this, I got it for you. Study it for yourself. Ask some questions. Ask some questions. Right? But the Circle 7 Koran, Moors, if we can agree to, if we study, it comes from the biblical scriptures. It comes from the biblical scriptures, man. Elements from the apocryphal Jesus, which is Yahshua. It's just facts. A lot of stuff, it comes together. It's just what it is, Moors. The Rosicrucian of scriptures, a form of our Freemasonry. I mean, it's all tied in here. It's all tied in here, Moors. It's all tied in here. And text addition to material from the Koran. It's all in here. I mean, I don't really understand what some Moors be talking about. So let's get with our Circle 7 Koran. Pull this out. I hope you got it. We're going to go over a couple quick chapters and verses. We're going to go over chapter 43. And I want you to write some scripture down. And I can show you all this in any biblical book. I can show you this in, let me see, where is, I can show you in the biblical scriptures. I can show you in the, hold on. Let me see if I got that one. Oh yeah. I can show you that's connection. Jesus, which is Yahshua, and Bartha together. I can show you all this in the Tibetan Book of the Dead. I can show you it's all there. I can show you this in the Vedas. I can show you all through history, man. And so you get out of hate and you get into science. I'm telling you, I can show you all the connection, all through, no matter what they call it. That's why you must understand when we said that Moors, we study and obey all the laws and all the prophets. This is your nationality and identification card for the Moorish Science Temple of America and birthright for the Moorish Americas. We honor all the divine prophets. Jesus, which is Yahshua, I'm saying that because it never was a J in the Hebrew dialect, And you have to understand why he gave that name. Muhammad, Buddha, and Confucius. So if you don't understand landmass and you don't understand the Asians in Africa and a serpent that sat on the black Buddha that sat on the seven serpent with the seven heads, research the Asians in Africa. Research the connection of the black Sambo. So if you got your Circle 7 Quran, because if you say you're more, I hope you're studying it. My brother like, man, you hurting them. No, I'm not. I'm just want to give them the science. You can go to the introduction. And if every more have it, what did the introduction of this Circle 7 Quran say? With people going around arguing about what it is. What does the introduction of the Circle 7 Quran says? Because if you're more, if you don't have it, you need to have it. And you need to study it. You need to read and understand it. You need to read it over and 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 over. You must. The introduction of this Circle 7 Quran, know thyself and the Father God Allah. The genealogy of Jesus with 18 of the events live. The events occurred before he was 30 years of age. These secret lessons for all of whom love Jesus, which is Yahshua. I'm giving my interpretation because he went there, but he didn't give it all. And desire to know about his life, works, and teachings. So it goes on, but I want to highlight to the next part. I'm going to go down a couple paragraphs, and I'm going to go, the reasons these lessons have not been known is because the Muslims of India, Egypt, and Palestine had the secrets and kept them back from the outside world. And when the time appointed by Allah, they loosened the keys and freed these secret teachings. And freed these secrets. And for the first time it gave, in ages, have these secrets been delivered in the hands of Muslims in America. Yes, that's true. That's the first time that somebody put this together. But all the books that it come from them all, and we must understand that. The prophet studied, man. He tell you this was divinely prepared. So how you think he divinely prepared this? Come on, man. We don't diss our prophet. We give our prophet all the glory, all the honor for doing this for us. We're not here to discredit nothing. We're here to take it further because we're still in the flesh. We can still do more research. We don't supposed to stop. All of the rights of publishing of this pamphlet, 1927. The industrial acts of the Muslims of Northwest and Southwest Africa. Listen to this. When I tell you, if you're reading the biblical scriptures, how you see they try to implement things and say the Canaanite can never enter the kingdom of God, I can show you all through how it was implemented. That book is a geography map, a landmass. And if you don't want to understand that, I'm sorry. I'm not here to argue with nobody. They're operating on their own understanding. It's just given to you wrong. If you are more, and you say you're from the tribe of David, the lineage of Judah, you're from David, from the flesh, from the blood. How can you say you are more? How can you say you are more and you diss stuff? How? You're not studying the text. They're not talking about Tamar. They're not talking about Ruth. They're not talking about the Canaanite, Phoenician, and connecting all that, the Moabites and Sent. That's all you. Because you don't have the history. The story of Anaseth and Joseph, doing all those connections, understanding that Mizraim is Egypt, understanding that it was Hebrew pharaohs in Egypt when we connect the dots. Show you all through history how things was implemented and taken out. When I come from the Geneva Bible, it talks about more and more and more, all mores. But the industrial acts of the Muslims of Northwest and Southwest Africa, that's the whole landmass. People in the wrong geographical area. When I talk about certain areas, they right by each other. These are the Moabites, Hamites, Canaanites, who were driven out of the land of Canaan by Joshua and received permission from the pharaohs of Egypt to settle in that portion of Egypt. And in the later years, they found kingdoms themselves. The kingdoms are called this day Morocco, Algiers, Tunis, Tripoli, etc. Moors. I'm coming from our Koran. Chapter 1. I hope you follow me. No finite mind can comprehend things infinite. All finite things are subject to undue change. All finite things will cease to be because there was a time when they were not. The bodies and souls of men are finite things, and they will change Moors. From the finite point of view, the time will come when they will be no more. But man himself is not the body, nor the soul. He is a spirit and a part of Allah. Come on, Moors. I'm going down a little bit. Hear ye cherubim, ye seraphim, ye angels, and ye men. Do you know what your cherubim and your seraphim is? I hope we do, Moors. Hear he now, O protoplasm, and earth, and plant, and beast. Hear he now, ye creepy things of the earth, ye fish that swim, ye birds that fly. I can go on and on and on, but I'm going to skip down a little bit because I want you to understand the science. But man, like every other thought of Allah, was but a seed that held within itself the potencies of Allah. That's why in the biblical scriptures, he said you were made in a type of image. It's just reworded. Just as the seed of any plant of the earth holds deep within itself the attributes of every part of that special plant. Just like when he said you made in the type and image. That's when he says you are God's. And somebody telling you you're not. Then when somebody telling you you're not under the law. Come on, man. God's law don't change. You just being interpreted wrong. So spirit man, as seed of Allah, held deep within himself the attributes of every part of Allah. Man, we talking about man. Man, we talking about connection, man. We talking about God and man is one still. We talking about God and man is one. We talking about God and man is one. Man made in the image of Elohim by the pattern of the tabernacle. I mean, man. I mean, do you hear me, Moors? I know y'all hear me. I know you hear me. We ain't got to get on no hate. Look, Moors. All charts, everything go back to the essence. You see that? What are we talking about? Man made in the image of Elohim. In the pattern of the tabernacle. What's the pattern of the tabernacle? Your physical body, Moors. And then Moors telling you not to study metaphysics, astrology, astronomy, linguistics, history, law. Come on, man. Connect the dots. Just connect the dots. Everybody else using the science and you afraid of it, man, because people don't know how to teach it. The proof is in the pudding, man. All this same thing. All this is the same thing. What I just showed you on the other chart is this. Same thing, but connected what's above to the body. Connecting all the signs and symbols to the body. Come on, man. I hope we know that. I hope we know that, Moors. So if somebody telling you something different, I won't do that. I'm going to tell you what it is. So let's go deeper. Okay, now C's are perfect. Okay, I gave you that. Okay. I don't want to talk about John the Harbinger. I want to get to the other chapter for you. We're going to get to chapter, 43. Get your pens. Now we're going to start with verse 1. No, we're going to start with verse 2. You know what? No, I ain't going to start. I'm going to start with verse 1. Among the Buddhists, the Buddhist priest was one who saw a lofty wisdom in the words of Jesus, or Yahshua. It was Barato Arbo. Verse 2. Together, Jesus, which is Yahshua. I'm giving the holy names. And Barato read the Jewish, and I'm giving the correction of that, the Hebrew Psalms and prophets. Read the Vedas, the Avesta, and the wisdom of Guanama. Guanama who? The Guanama Buddha. That's who, man. The Black Sambo, man. I'm telling you. Research the Africans in Asia. It's there. Man, Moors. Look. I played the document. I'm going to play the film tomorrow. But it's all here. The world's last mysteries. I'm telling you. Research, it's all there. You can see it all. Pictures, everything. I'll play the film for you. You'll be like, man, it's already there. Everything in the biblical scriptures, man, it shows you all on what they've written on the walls, what you can't erase. I'm telling you, the Africans in Asia, the Black Sambo, I'm going to play it for you. Show you landmass, show you stuff that's on the walls that you can't deny. I'm telling you. So let's get back. Verse 5. Time was when man was not, and then he was a bit of formless substance in the molds of time and the protoplasm. I'm going to skip to verse 7. Now, man himself is mind, and mind is there to gain perfection by experience, and mind is often manifest in fleshly form, and it is the form best suited to its growth. So mind may manifest as worm or bird or beast or man. So in the biblical scriptures, when you're reading, you're not even understanding what these words mean. You're taking them in the wrong context. Especially when I tell Morris, Hebrew cannot be just generally or just however you want to explain it in English, because it can mean 10 different things depending on the context. So you must be able to break that etymology down. I'm going to go to verse 12. And Jesus, and I'm always using Yahshua, said, enlightened Arabo, are you a mastermind and do not know that man knows not by being told? Verse 13, man may believe what others say. And I'm going to stop right there, Morris. Remember when I say you don't have to believe when I say get your pens, get your papers, you can do your own research. Get your own research when the Morris talking about something. I say, and I ask them, have you read the Circle 7 Koran? They say, yeah. When you ask them something about it, they say, oh man, I don't deal with that. I deal with civics. You got to walk away from that. But man may believe what others say. You don't have to. In that etymology, it's a word called belie. You don't have to belie nothing. But thus he never knows. If man would know, he must himself be what he knows. So you must be yourself what you knows. You must exhume that. If you say you want to work out, you want to do this, well, you should do it. No matter who's supporting you, you do that. You grind, you come there. You might do this for 5 or 10 years. That 11th year, that might be your year. But you don't give up on you. If you know that you are a business, you have to get out of your so-called kind of your so-called people and get with the ones that like what you do. And that's the only way you operate in love, truth, peace, freedom, justice. I'm telling you, Morris. I hope you understand what I'm saying. Verse 18, time never was when man was not. Verse 20, from Allah's own record books, we read, the truant Allah breathed forth and still 7 spirits he faced. The Hebrews called these 7 spirits Elohim. The Hebrews called these 7 spirits Elohim. The Hebrews called these 7 spirits Elohim. Morris, when I show you all the history about the Hebrew God as the Messiah for Allah, man, and if Morris don't understand what I'm talking about, that's sad. I love all my brothers, man, but I must teach what it is, one nationality with many cultures, and you don't strip a person from their culture, period. Because Morris understand who the Hebrew God is, I hope. And these are they who in their boundless power created everything that is or was. The spirits of the true and Allah moved on the face of boundless space, and 7 others were, and every other had its form of life. These forms of life were but the thought of Allah, clothed in the substance of their ether planes. We're talking about you and me. Men call these ether planes the planes of protoplasm, of earth, the plant, the beast of man, of angel and cherubim. Come on, Morris. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Verse 32, the angels and the cherubim failed not. Their will were never strong, and they held the ethers of the plains in harmony with Allah. Who is Allah? If we Moors, iron leg, iron head, what is that? What is Allah? And Morris science what? Tell the truth, Morris. I, self, law, and mastery. That's talking about yourself. It ain't talking about nothing outside yourself. The gods of earth, same thing. Now, when the ether reached the rate of atmosphere, and all the creatures of the plains must get their food from the atmosphere, we're talking about sustainability. When people don't understand what the so-called cross is, and they only give you the exoteric explanation, but they're not giving you the essence explanation. That fire, earth, air, river, or water, that's sustainability. And if a person don't know that, then I'm sorry. But yeah, it's the essence, it means something else esoterically. Of course. But all the creatures must get their food from the atmosphere, and the conflict came. And then that which the finite man called survival of the best became a law. Come on, man. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Verse 37. The thought of Allah changed not. The manifest of life on every plan unfolds into perfection of their kind. And as the thought of Allah can never die, there is not death any being of the seven ethers, of the seven spirits of the true in Allah. There never was a time when man wasn't. We don't operate in hate. Verse 41. Now, Vyapati, I might be pronunciating it wrong. The wisest of the Indian sages, chief of the temple Kapvistu, heard Bartha speak to Jesus, which is Yahshua. We given the holy names of the origin of man, and heard the answer of the Hebrew prophet. We keep talking about that Hebrew prophet. And he said, you priests of Kapvistu, hear me speak. We stand today upon a crest of time, or a crest of time. 6 time ago, a master soul was born who gave a glorious light to man. And now a master sage stands in a temple of Kapvistu. Verse 43. Let me get some libations. The Hebrew prophet. What did I say? Come on, Moors. Y'all know what it says. Verse 43. The Hebrew prophet is the rising star of wisdom. Defy. What? Do you know what that means? I hope Moors know what that means. He brings to us a knowledge of the secret things of Allah, and all world will hear his words and glorify his name. To glorify who name? This Hebrew prophet. Who is this Hebrew prophet? The circle letter 7. I'm going to show you. You priests of temple of Kapvistu, stay, be still and listen. When he speaks, he is the living oracle of Allah. Who is the living oracle of Allah? This Hebrew Messiah, this Hebrew prophet. Come on, Moors. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you, Moors. Skip over to verse 46. And your circle 7 Koran. Matter of fact, now we'll start at verse 45. Chapter 45. I'm going to read verse 1 through 7. And then we're going to get to 46. The divine origin of the Asiatic nations. If you are more, you should know this. It's in the Circle 7 Quran. It's in this book. When people be talking about this and this, oh, this ain't nothing. Oh, some white this, some I said, man, see, that's not more science. It can't be. You operate on your own understanding. If you got this book and you study this, I hope you know what this book is. The 18 mission years of Jesus, which is Yahshua's life. Come on, Moors. Y'all know that's the truth. Y'all know that's the truth. If anybody's saying something else, they on their own thing. This book tell you about your workman tools, about the Comedian principles, everything. The fallen sons and daughters of the Asiatic nation of North America need to learn to love instead of hate, and to know of his higher self and lower self. This is the uniting of the Holy Quran of Mecca for the teaching and instructions of all Moorish Americans. The key to civilization was, and in the hands of the Asiatic nations, the Moors, who were the ancient Moabites and the founders of the holy city of Mecca. The Egyptians, who were the Hamites, and of a direct descendant of Mizraim. And the Arabians, the seed of Hagar, Japanese and Chinese. The Hindus of India, the descendants of the ancient Canaanites, Hittites, and Moabites from the land of Canaan. The Asiatic, and research in the biblical scriptures where it says the Canaanite can never enter the kingdom of God. Research that. But it's telling you the lineage. That's why a preacher, if he's not teaching the truth, he's not going to tell you the true genealogy of Jesus, which is Yahshua, because it's going to give you all the truth. The Asiatic nation and the countries in North, South, and Central America, the Moorish Americans and Mexicans in North America, Brazilians, Argentinians, and Chileans in South America, Colombians, Nicaraguans, and the natives of San Salvador in Central America, etc. All of these are Muslims. That's what the prophet said. That's what the book says. Right, Moors? The Turks are the true descendants of Hagar, who are the chief protectors of the Islamic creed of Mecca, beginning from Muhammad the first, the founder of the United of Islam by the command of the great universal God Allah. Chapter 46. The foundation of Christianity began in Rome. The Christianity began in Rome. But we're not talking about the teachings of the Hebrew God, not the Nazarene. If you research Acts chapter 24 and 5, this pestilent brother is the ringleader of the Nazarenes. Come on, man. I can show you if you understand etymology and root. It ain't in nowhere here saying you got to be some Christian. Nowhere. So Somebody just need to explain it. Let's dig. The foundation of Christianity began in Rome. The Roman nations founded the first church, of whom crucified Jesus of Nazareth for seeking to redeem his people from under the Roman yoke of law. Jesus himself, the true blood of the ancient Canaanites and Moabites and the inhabitants of Africa. What, Morris? Say, I know you heard that. I'll say it again. Jesus, which is Yahshua himself. I'm giving you Yahshua because it never was a J in the Hebrew dialect. I can tell you why Noble Drew Ali gave that. Because he wanted you to study deeper. Jesus himself was of the true blood of the ancient Canaanites and the inhabitants of Africa. I can show you in history that the Asiatic man is the father of civilization, proven by biblical history. If you want me to get at it again, I'll give it to you. I'll give you all the scripture to prove it to you. Seeking to redeem his people in the days from the pressure of the so-called pale-skinned nation of Europe, Rome crucified him according to their law. Europe had peace for a long time until Muhammad the first came upon the scene and fulfilled the works of Jesus of Nazareth. Even my Nation of Islam brothers. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I can get your teachings and show you and tell you exactly what it says. Watch this. But then it's the part that I don't roll with when it's talking about another man. And we can roll with this because this is what it says. That's why I said I operate in love, man. What the Muslims believe. I'm gonna go to their 12. We believe that Allah, God, appeared in the person of Master Far Muhammad, July 1930. That right there is their own thing. The long-awaited Messiah. Listen to this, of the Christians and the Mahdi of the Muslims. Huh? Come on. What the Muslim believe? We believe in the one God who prosper name is Allah. We believe in the Holy Koran and in the scriptures of all the prophets of God. Verse number 3. We believe in the truth of the Bible. We believe in the truth of the Bible. But we believe that it has been tampered with and must be reinterpreted so that mankind will not be snared by the falsehoods that have been added to it. Me too. You see what I'm saying? Me too. I believe that part. I rock with that part, but I don't believe and I ain't with that God or Allah appeared in the person of Far Muhammad, July 1930, the long-awaiting Messiah of the Christians and the Mahdi of the Muslims. You know, but I'm cool with a lot of my brothers. And we agree on a lot of things. But the European, had peace for a long time until Muhammad the first came upon the scene and fulfilled Jesus' works of Nazareth. The holy teachings of Jesus, which is Yahshua, was to common people, to redeem them from under the great pressure of the hands of unjust, that the rulers and the rich would not oppress the poor. Also that the lion and the lamb may lay down together, and neither would be harmed when morning come. I hope I ain't talking foreign. Verse 8, the lamb is the poor people, the lion is the rulers and the rich, and through love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and my 2 cents, health and wealth, all men are one and equal to seek their own destiny and to worship under their own vine and fig tree, after the principles of the holy and divine laws of their forefathers. Verse 9, all nations of the earth in those modern days are seeking peace, but there is but one true and divine way that peace may be obtained in the days, and it's through love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, being taught universally to all nations in the lands. I'm telling you, Moors. So I don't know what a person is teaching and promulgating if they're not teaching this Quran. I love you all, Moors. Peace.